This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
You know, in a year where there's lots of great freshmen, not only in our league, but across the country, it's been kind of fun to follow. But she's obviously off to a great start. You know, the scoring numbers jump off the chart at you, but y'all have seen enough to know that she's impacted us on both ends, offensively and defensively. So good honor for them. I think it makes, I don't know how many straight years, Kylie, we've had a freshman of the week, at least 1 week, but 3 straight years. I figured you'd probably know that. So that's a good sign. And probably more to come, and good place to start 2 weeks in. Thought she had a pretty good week last week too. It could have been back to back.
All right, we'll get started. Dudley.
Tell me a little bit about Wisconsin, what you know about them, and really the other possible opponents as well.
We've played these guys like 4 out of the last 5 years. I mean, it seems like we play them in 3 out of the last 4. I don't know what it is. We play them in tournaments. We're pretty familiar with them for sure. I watched them the other night against Kansas State. Obviously, Kansas State's a really, really good team that not a lot like us. They've got a really big kid they throw it to a bunch. But my first chance to put my eyes on them, they beat a really good South Dakota State team, which is a hard thing to do. So they're coming in 3-1, coming off the loss to Kansas State. I'm really good friends. Marissa and I kind of grew up in assistant coaches in the same area when she was at Denver, so I know her well, know her teams well. Rugged Big Ten. When you look at them on film, they're very strong. You can tell they spend a lot of time in the weight room. Their best player is their 5-player, which this will be the first time all year that we've played a team whose best player is their 5-player. We've been playing a lot of really good guards and some small forwards, but first time this year for us to play that their best player is the big kid. They throw it to her a bunch. She's real active. She'll be a challenge for us around the basket. A couple of good returners around a freshman. They've got a freshman coming in that's starting for them. Very similar to us in rotation. They'll play 6, 7 kids, double-figure minutes. It could be a great matchup. It'd be a fun one to get kicked off down there. But again, a team we're pretty familiar with because of the number of times we played throughout the years, and then my familiarity with Marissa. If they're on TV, I try to clip over and watch them whether we're playing them or not.
So talk a little bit about you last night. You mentioned that you try to be home for Thanksgiving or home for Christmas one. What made this the right tournament this year?
It's in Florida. You know, we want to get Sam and Tahlia back home. We try to get every kid back for non-conference opportunities and preferably a tournament where they can spend a couple of days. This year, it just so happened they both fell that way. Dudley, on years when we take a foreign trip, we try to stay, on the mainland. We don't try to go to one of the more exotic places. Since we had the foreign trip this summer, Florida worked out. The opponents were good. When you look for these events, you want to have a good venue. We're playing in a venue we're familiar with. And I quite frankly like to go to places that are warm. I know there's a lot of other places you can go. And I would rather in November go someplace where you got to pack the shorts. I purposely didn't switch my closets over so quickly this year because I knew I was going to hopefully need the shorts and the flip-flops one more time. You can appreciate that, I hope.
You bet. Thanks.
You got it.
Ethan?
Yeah, talking about just getting the Florida kids back home during the holiday. I know especially just for Sam, I think she played her freshman year at Fort Myers. Have you gotten to talk to her a little bit about just kind of what it means that decided to go back to her home? Yeah,
they were excited when we got the contract signed. I kind of reached out to them and let those 2 kids know that we'd be playing. Then after that, at that point in time, we didn't know we were going to be going to Tallahassee to play in the ACC Challenge. So I know they're excited. They've got a lot of friends, got a lot of family, coaches that they grew up with, both of them. It's a short enough drive. And I think being there for an extended period, not just in and out, gives them a chance to come hang out at the hotel, come hang out, do some things with us, eat Thanksgiving dinner with each other. And it's a holiday. Everybody celebrates holidays differently. But I like to try to take care of the half that likes Thanksgiving and the half that likes Christmas every other year the best we can. So this year there'll be a long Christmas break, but we'll all be together, have a good meal, and then 2 good games. I like to play the back-to-backs. I'm not a huge fan of the 3 in a row. We've done it in the past sometimes, but I really like the 2-game classics or the 2-game format advance, where you do win at advance, not the predetermined ones. I like the ones where you win and you play the other team that won on the other side the next day. So it's fun. It presents us a new preparation. We'll prepare kind of for both teams a little bit. All potential 3 teams, all 3 teams a little bit the next couple of days, and then turn our focus specifically to Wisconsin when we get down there. We will practice here tomorrow. Today was an off day. We will practice here tomorrow, then travel, practice and eat Thanksgiving dinner together, then play on Friday and Saturday.
And talking about just, how you have 2 potential opponents the day after, I know Wisconsin's the one ahead. That's what you're more probably in depth with right now, but just general things, I guess, about Boston College and Marquette you might know.
Know Marquette really well. Watched them 3 times already, just sitting on the couch in between Paw Patrol and Rescue Bot episodes. They're really talented. Older team, a lot of veterans. A go-to kid in Jordan King, and then really nice pieces around them with their post player, the Griffin kid. But they're not. Then they got transfer from Lehigh. That was one of the top transfers, and Hottinger. Megan is another person I go way, way back with. We were in Villa 7 together, some coaching clinics up and coming with Nike. She's done a great job everywhere she's been. Has really gotten Marquette. They're a perennial tournament team. I think they're picked 2nd or 3rd maybe in the preseason in the Big East with UConn and those guys, Creighton. So really good job. Boston College, I don't know as much about yet, not because I think they're any better or any worse. They just haven't been on the feeds when I've been able to watch. I followed some of their scores. I know a little bit about them. We'll get a chance to see that game. If I know we're going to get a chance to see somebody live, I don't do a whole lot of pre-scouting. Coach Todd and Evan and the guys that do our pre-scouting will have that all ready to go. But I like to watch somebody live. I can tell a lot more about them being in the gym. I spend the first 2 videos on my computer with my eyes going like they are, trying to figure out numbers and figure out who players are. So it takes me a while on that miniature screen I'm watching it on. But being able to see people live, you learn a lot more about them. So we'll get that game live plus the film that we have on those 2. But 2 quality opponents, and I think that's what drew us, all 4 teams down there. I talked to these coaches. I think when these tournaments start trying to fill their fields, who's there matters a lot. And I know when I heard Wisconsin, Marquette, and Boston College, we all kind of looked at each other like we get a chance to go down there and play. There's 4 Power 5 teams. That's pretty rare. You don't usually see that. You usually see different levels represented, but this is, 4 teams. We're all kind of in similar spots, I think, within our league. So I think it's a good tournament for all of us.
Just a couple more for me. I think we knew season opener watching ULM, like they were good. And I know that y'all cheer after you beat a team, like for them to win out pretty much. But how good has it been to see, Coach Bilderbeck have that success after playing y'all? They're playing pretty well right now.
Well, I said it in our press conference. I thought they were going to win their next 8. I didn't want to put any pressure on her, but I think they're well on their way to doing that. Listen, I do those chalk talks. Y'all are in there post game. Y'all ought to pop in there early one night and see my chalk talks I do. The crowd has gotten big. I think we probably had 75 or 100 in there last night, didn't we, Kylie? I mean, it was packed, but they get tired of hearing me say the same thing over and over, like, hey, this team's really good, y'all. And they're all kind of looking at me like, yeah, you're setting us up. But it's justified, and I'm glad they're going out and doing it. And all of them, I want to see everybody we play go out there. I follow their scores very, very closely. So I do think ULM is going to have a great, and I will say the same thing about UCA. I think the improvement that they've made in one calendar year again shows you what's possible now at certain places to turn rosters around. So I think UCA, I haven't looked at their schedule to see who they play. But yeah, it's fun to see ULM and I'll be pulling for Foley and for Coach Rogers. Everybody we play, I become their biggest fans the rest of the way out.
And then last thing I wanted to ask is just, I think it's probably always worth asking, just like how Sasha's doing. I know it's asking a kid to come back after a year. There's probably some hurdles to cross. Just have you gotten to talk with her?
I talk with her every day. You know,
Yeah.
I check in, she checks in with me. Some days we don't. I don't say every day. It's not every day, but it's as needed. And it is hard to take any time off from anything that you do and expect to come back and be at the same level. And she gets mad when she misses a layup. She doesn't get mad. She feels like she lets people down. You know, she's so hard on herself, but to see her step up there and make those free throws last night was really good. There are signs that we see every day in her, and it inspires us. You know, just seeing her out there inspires our other kids. You can really tell a lot about a kid and how good of a teammate they are when you watch people's reactions to things that they do. Sasha made a couple of defensive plays, made a block shot, got a steal, threw it out and advanced. And just to see Mac and Sam and even our freshmen, Tahlia and Christina. Christina cheers for the other team sometimes still. We got to get her broken to that. But, you can tell a lot about how kids, and when Sasha made those 2 free throws last night and kind of got a little smile on her face, it was really good to see. It's certainly going to be something that, I don't think it's ever going to be the same, for her or for us with that. But just seeing her out there and having her around on the bus and having her around these environments and that, for me, I'm only going to speak personally. You can ask the other kids, but I can be having a pretty crappy day up until the start of practice. The stuff that comes across my desk that I deal with sometimes it's not what you want to deal with, but then you get into practice and you look over and there's Sasha out there and you go, I'm okay. If this kid can show up, knowing how she's battled to be out there in practice, I think I can put my whistle on and go out there and do a good job today. So she continues to inspire us, and her play is still, you look at it, when she goes in, whoever she's guarding, you almost see this look on her face like, oh God, Sasha's guarding me, because they've seen film. Those kids watch film and they're like, oh man, anybody but 13, on me. So I'm excited every day she's out there. I don't take it for granted. I know how flimsy college athletics is, and I'm glad she's out there with us and everything that we're doing. So thanks for the question. I think you can talk to her. She's, as you all know, she's very she's just an old soul, when she talks about things. So thanks for checking on her.
All right, Jacob, we'll wrap up with you.
Hey, Coach, you've talked about this a little bit in the past, but just how important are these Thanksgiving tournaments? What do you learn about your team overall when you get a chance, like you said, to play back-to-back games or even 3 in a row sometimes?
It does prepare you for March. That's what it is. You're going to play. You never play back-to-back in the NCAA tournament, but you do in the SEC tournament. Even if you're a top seed, you're going to have to play at least 3. There's years we've had to play 4 to advance. So it's more that just that being accustomed to that turnaround, your body knowing, what it feels like to play back-to-back games. So we try to simulate that in practice during the off season as much as we can. There'll be 2 days in a row where I get after them pretty good on their heart rate monitors and make sure their exertion level is really high. So that we'll simulate it. But, I've always said, I think what we really learn more about is, the travel, the being in the hotel, the going back and forth, the prep, the quick turnaround. This first game it will be normal. We'll have a full 2-day prep for Wisconsin, but then the next one is a no-day prep. That's that night in the hotel. That's that in the film room. That's finding out if your players will watch the edit that our people put together, and not only watch it, but how long they watch it, how many times they watch it, and then how much they can carry over. For me, the balance is always, how much can you give the kid on a scouting report for them to be able to go out and retain and execute? It doesn't matter that our staff knows every stat or every play or every cut if they don't. So we learned a little bit about that on our foreign tour, about how we travel together. Obviously, we were together for 21 days, not just 2. So we're past all that. So we're going to spend a lot of time on how we're preparing and how our bodies recover. Everybody's a little different. Max got 4 years on her, where, Tahlia still pops up out of bed like nothing, like she didn't even play last night. Those things. So we got to figure all that stuff out. And that's what those things do for me. And then, there's a lot of family that travels with them. So just being able to be together for the holidays, it's a cool thing to be a part of.
And then you touched on their post player, Sarah Williams, a little bit earlier. I
Yeah.
did want to ask you about that. 6'4", you guys obviously, like you said, haven't faced quite a presence like that. How is she going to challenge you guys defensively?
It'll fall not only just to Miriam, but, to everybody, to be able to not let her dribble it, knock her off her spot. I'm anxious to see that matchup. They kind of, their games are kind of similar. She steps out and shoots the 3. And by the way, if anybody had Miriam Dowda as our leading 3-point shooter through 5 games on your bingo card, I'd like to see it, and time stamped, please. I think anybody that's been at practice knows that she shoots it great. I mean, she's got a beautiful, everybody that comes in goes, her shot's so pretty. And she has such long hands and fingers. And we all know she can shoot it. I mean, she's done it even in high school. She made, I think, 6 threes in the state championship. But I bet none of you had that on your bingo card going through 5 games. But back to Sarah, the thing that concerns me most is how often they throw it to her. It's not how, I mean, she's really good, but it's what they're looking to do. That's what they're looking to do. Like last night, I don't know if y'all noticed, but like first play we set up for Miriam, just because we took 13 perimeter shots in a row at Arkansas State and got us off to a little bit of a slow start. I was glad Miriam went in there and got a little post presence, but they're going to throw it to her every trip down that they can. I mean, her usage rate, and then she's not a ball hog. She's a good passer. The other players, I think, benefit by teams maybe spending too much time focused on her. So we'll give our post players a chance. I mean, I want to see how Miriam does on her head-to-head one-on-one, and Christina coming in and Emory coming back. Emory's guarded some of the best post players in the SEC history, and Aaliyah Boston and Tamari Key, and she had the Afue kid from LSU for a number of years. She guarded Angel Reese. So I'm not looking past Emory's toughness either to be able to give us some minutes down there. And she does a really good job of keeping kids off their spots. But I'm anxious to see the matchup. Obviously, we got great post players coming in the SEC, so I'm glad that we get to face somebody in the non-conference before we get there. But, if you spend too much time trying to keep her from scoring, she can turn those other kids into open shooters. And they've got kids that'll make open shots. We got to guard them. But if you spend too much time on her, she can make her whole team better. So, watching that Kansas State game, it helped us, but didn't really, because Kansas State has a 6'6" kid that can just kind of clog everything up. We don't have that size. Miriam's got that height and length, but not that size. So it's good for us to have that matchup.
And then last thing for me, I was wondering, do you have any details for us on that Thanksgiving menu? I know you said you were trying to eat early and get it out of the system.
Yeah, I saw it. All I do is make sure that there's enough, but not too much. I want everybody. Our group's really pretty good. We've got a new nutritionist, Charlotte McIntyre, who does a great job. She's only been here about a month, and our kids have already really taken to her in the pregame meals, being very conscious of what they're putting in their bodies and stuff. So I trust Charlotte's looked over it. I will sometimes go in and she will cross some things out, and I'll go out and beside it and write, coaches only or something, because I've got to have a few of those. I try to not eat it in front of the kids, because I don't want to eat something that they're not eating, but I can assure you there's going to be some stuffing on there and some gravy, whether or not it's on the kids menu or not. I may have a little to-go cup or something. I am a big Thanksgiving holiday person, not in decorations, not in that, but in the event. And just because of the way was brought up with the foods and everybody bringing something. And, I miss those times, but we'll have them together. But I don't have a very good scouting report for you, just a generality. And it's amazing too. Sometimes, You'd be shocked how good these hotels and these restaurants, these resorts at these restaurants, what they can come up with for Thanksgiving.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.